everyone. Okay, today I will show you how to tighten the top cap on the stem. Okay, so first thing first is before we tighten the top cap, okay, so first thing we need to make sure is the expander nut. This expander nut must be tightened enough, okay, following the torque range, okay, the Newton meter, 8 Newton meter, okay, because why? If you're not tightened enough, after you lock the top cap will pull up the expander nut, so it's very dangerous. Okay, so the top cap is actually act as a lock in between the stem and the fork. Okay, the stem and the fork, they clamping together with the head tube. So later I will show you the following step. Okay, now let's check the expander nut is tight enough or not. So I'm not going to show you using the torque wrench, but make sure you guys have the torque wrench to tighten it with 8 Newton meter. Okay, following this, and then let's say, okay, let's see now. We're checking. Okay, it's tight enough. Okay. So before we tighten the stem cap, make sure we have the space, the gap in between the expander nut and the stem, at least 3 mm space, because the stem cap need to have some room to pull the stereo tube in order to clamp the stem and the fork together. Okay, and also you must make sure what type of expander nut you have, and then what type of the stem cap you have. Some of the stem cap, they have some extra piece of, let's say they have some extra higher method coming out, so you need to have the gap to prevent the stereo tube engage touching the top cap. Okay, so now we already have 3 mm gap. Okay, not lower than 3 mm, because if you lower than 3 mm, it will cause off this nut below, so you won't have a very safety tighten this stereo tube. Okay, so make sure before we screw it, we already apply some grease on the screw. Okay, so while you tighten the top cap, make sure you don't over tighten, hand tight enough. Okay, hand tight, okay, until it stop. Okay, not extra strength, no need extra strength, just hand tight. Okay, because if you over tighten the top cap, it will compress the bearing. Okay, because the stem is clamping the head tube, and then head tube inside got 2 bearing. So if you over tighten, will cause the bearing pressure, and then you won't have smooth turning, and also after some time it will cause of the bearing wear off. Okay, so after the top cap tighten, then only you start lock the both side screw. Okay, also need to be careful with the torque that's following the stem specification. Some of the stem, mostly they are using 5 to 6 Newton meter. Okay, so when you tighten the screw, make sure you tighten it evenly, meaning each side, if you tighten half turn or quarter turn, so each side you're following evenly. Okay, quarter, 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 quarter. Okay, evenly tight. Okay, this is to prevent uneven cramp, uneven tighten, because if you, let's say you tight here more and less, so will cause of the strength, and also will cause maybe of the stem will break on this part. Okay, so make sure you all follow the stem top that showing on the side or bottom of the stem. Okay, make sure you tighten it correctly so everything will be safe for your riding. Okay, thank you.